Good evening and welcome inside Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield. This is the Bryant Football Coaches Show presented by Laura's Bar and Grill. I'm Tristan Hobbes. I'm joined by the head coach of the Bryant football team, James Perry. Bulldogs at 5-4 overall, 2-3 in Northeast Conference play after a 27-14 loss at St. Francis this past weekend. Coach, your team headed out to Loretto, Pennsylvania. Another long bus trip, the second to last long bus trip of the year. You still go to Howard at the end of the season. But it was probably one of the more interesting Saturdays of Bryant football that I've been a part of because of so many guys doing some different things for the team on Saturday. Just your overall thoughts as we start the show about Saturday's contest.
Well, I was happy with the kids' second half. It was hard not to be. The way we hit, the way we ran around the field. I think, we started the game very poorly, but, to watch the kids, just even the vibe in the halftime room was impressive to me. And then it's particularly impressive to see some of the guys, the way we tackled, the way, some of the things that we really need to do well down the stretch to win here, to do it at that level against a very good football team was something to build off of. And, in the locker room, we're always trying to win. I think we can be one of the best programs in the entire FCS, but it's hard, in a lot that has to do with winning. But for me, it would be impossible not to commend their effort in that second half because it's very, very impressive.
Tim Lynch and I, my color man on the radio, we looked at each other in the third quarter and we said, you know what, the best thing about the last 2 years has been watching this team compete from the start of the game till the end of the game. I think that's one thing that, if anything, that you've instilled in this program the last 2 years is that you come and watch Bryant football play, you're going to be able to watch them play hard for a full 60 minutes.
Yeah, and for us, I think it's always about getting better too, and it's time of year where we believe in the second half. Some of our fitness and conditioning things that we do and take so much pride in can help us. So you start the game, you fumble the very first play of the game, and some things are going haywire on you. To watch the guys come out in the second half and run around the field to play fast, especially on defense, was fun. And I think it's a lot to build off of. And then on the heels of that, we did catch the hour on the time zone change there. But, you come off that bus and, we got a room full of seniors and a room full of leadership that we had a terrific Sunday yesterday. And fitness is so important to us. So Sundays are really, really key. And we just had a great practice. So I was happy to see the kids do that, happy to see the second half go the way it did, and then, yesterday go the way it did. So, I look forward to seeing how we'll respond this week.
If you missed the game on Saturday, the Bulldogs went down 17-0 in the first half, made it a 3-point game late in the second quarter. Timmy Graham threw his first 2 career touchdown passes to get the Bulldogs within 3. St. Francis, a late score after that in the second quarter. But then both defenses took over in the second half. Bryant limited St. Francis just 100 yards of offense in the second half, just 233 in the entire game. It was a team effort defensively, as has it been all season long. Same names, same story. Robert Brown, Tom Costigan, Kevin Lazo, all those guys doing their thing. Jesse Nemerowitz being a part of this defense that has played so well at times. And Saturday, it shined in the second half.
Yeah, and they're on the field a lot. So when you put the ball on the ground a couple times, and have these quick turnovers like we did, where they're back out there. One of the things that we talk about all the time is we pick each other up, and it was great to see us do that in a way that was really challenging. And I think it's a credit to our mindset, the kids, where the kids' heads are at. No pointing fingers. Heck, even. We tried a few things, trying to snap it to Tom and various things like that had mixed results, and it was just like get back on the field and get back out there and play. So I'm looking forward to this week. It's that time of year where we should be playing our best football. So I've put the challenge out to the kids to go out in the last home game and play our best football.
The Bulldogs getting set to host Wagner this Saturday on Senior Day at Burns Stadium at 1 o'clock kickoff. Coach, on Saturday after the game, when we talked for your post-game quote, you mentioned how much you enjoyed the fact that your team, the way they came together over the last 3 quarters of that contest. Tough first quarter, but then all of a sudden in the second quarter, The offense, defense, clicking on all cylinders. Timmy Graham leads 2 touchdown drives for this team to pull them within 3 points. One of them, a 90-yard touchdown drive. It's the 3rd straight game that you guys have had a touchdown drive of 90 yards or more. How much did that kind of please you to see your team not break, but say, hey, you know what, let's go. Let's get it together.
Yeah, and that's a terrific defensive team that we played. You know, statistically, they're kind of off the charts. The coaching staff, everything is kind of built around being a very physical and aggressive football team. And there were times out there where we were very one-dimensional on offense, and the guys up front are still grinding. The tailbacks are still working very hard to move the pile. And on that drive in particular, you know, we're playing some boxes and some things that are very, very, difficult to run the ball against. And our guys up front are really working hard to do that. So that was impressive. And I think it's something to build off of. I think, it's also something for us now offensively for Timmy to build off of and Brogan to build off of. And when we do put Tom back there to snap it to him, for him to build off of. So, we would like to do a little more of it on this past Saturday, but it was a terrific team. And I know that we'll work hard to make sure that we do more of it next weekend.
Tim Graham playing really in his first full game as a quarterback. Brogan McGovern got his first career start. Timmy Graham came in, the redshirt sophomore. It was impressive to watch his evolution during the game as he got more comfortable in the game. And all of a sudden, that second quarter, he's making the perfect read, making the great pass, leading this offense. It must have been for you to see that from a quarterback in game, not week to week, but in game, make those adjustments and get better.
Yeah, and we're always looking to have the next guy step up. And actually, sometimes what it means is the next guy stepping up means that we're going to put a little more emphasis on the run game than we typically do. We're a play fast operation, so we're trying to spread the field and do all those things. But sometimes you're going to put the emphasis on some guys up front. Sometimes you're going to give Brendan the ball a little bit more. Sometimes you're going to distribute the ball a little bit differently there. And I think the whole team kind of recognizes, okay, now we all got to step up and play a little better. And this week, I know we'll practice very hard to, get a little more comfortable with doing things a little differently than we typically do. And, I'm really confident that the guys will do that. Even yesterday, just how we moved up and down the field was a little smoother. The guys are getting a little bit used to having a little different character to how playing fast will materialize itself this week.
Bulldogs, again, as I said, getting set to take on Wagner this Saturday on Senior Day. We'll talk about the Bulldogs senior class when we come back. And then at the end of our show, we'll talk about the Bulldogs, how they match up with the Seahawks. Again, that's this Saturday, 1 o'clock at Burns Stadium. We'll be back on the Bryant Football Coaches Show presented by Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield. Welcome back inside Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield. This is the Bryant Football Coaches Show. Tristan Hobbes, head coach James Perry. The Bulldogs getting set to take on the Wagner Seahawks this Saturday, the final Northeast Conference game and the final home game of the 2018 season. Bryant will honor its 27-member senior class. Now, there are some other seniors, but they will be either doing a fifth year or a ninth semester. They will get their recognition next season, but 27 to be recognized on Saturday, Coach. And before we talked about them, I wanted to mention them all by name because some guys don't get an opportunity to get their name mentioned much, but Derek Child, Peter Corbett, Tom Costigan, Cole Cronin, Elo Denius, Vincent Dang, Anthony DiMatteo, Tom Durkin, Brendan Femiano, Sean Golson, Dylan Guthrow, Danny Hughes, Josh Jefferson, Tom Kennedy, Jordan Lauby, Quentin Law, Kevin Lazo, Christian Marty, Pete Mestry, Cody Ajukwu, Andrew Parent, Kyle Presti, Sam Ruzzi, DeMarco Saunders, Matt Steves, Malik Streeter, and Price Wilson. I can't believe I remembered all their first names. But that's your 27-member senior class that will be recognized on Saturday. And I think a lot of coaches, almost every coach will say that they're the foundation that your season is built off of, is the senior class, the senior leadership. What can you say about this senior class, the second one that you've gone through here at Bryant with?
Yeah, and this particular group, for me, I'll remember them forever because they're already upperclassmen that first winter. And we challenged the kids, tremendously hard workouts, tremendously dedicated, group from that perspective. And they were already upperclassmen, going into the junior years. They were guys that I leaned on year one in my transition to know Bryant, to know, what works best and what doesn't. And then going into year two, this was a group that you could totally count on for great feedback on how we can take another step as a program. And here we are just moving in the right direction, doing things the right way. It's all the accomplishments that they've had on the field is incredible. But when we talk about having a team GPA of 3.0, you rattle those kids out, those names off. Those are some of the best students in the entire school too. So they've set the bar in many, many ways for us to kind of keep trying to push and keep doing better. And for me, I know how much Burns Stadium is going to mean to them. And I know whether it's when I hustle back to the office here to come up with a game plan, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that the last time they hit that turf, they get a win. I know they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that they set the example of how important these Tuesday, Wednesday practices are for us coming up that we have to look forward to for the next 2 days. And then, kind of take care of the task at hand. And then finally, since it's such a big group, heck, this is a group that, 20 years from now, I'll be saying we were part of that Bryant football program, and 27 guys, it's such a big number. We can all stick together and come back to campus and do those things. So that's a lot of fun, too.
Coach, to follow up on those two things, first, the part of it, you understand how important the senior class is and what they've meant. For me, it's always amazing when you talk to their peers. I talked to Timmy Graham after the game on Saturday, interviewed him for social media, and he talked about the importance of Saturday's game and doing it for the senior class and how important they've meant to this program. That is something special when their peers recognize how important those seniors are, and your team realizes that. They understand how important this senior class is.
Yep, and heck, we've got a group of captains, which is a fantastic group, and that kind of is a pivotal part of your leadership. But really what we have is dispersed leadership amongst that group of 27. There's so many ways that, within position groups, they can have an impact, regardless of how big an impact they have on the field. Malik Street is going to have a big impact in that secondary room, and obviously everybody knows Tom Costigan. I think he's going to play in the NFL, and his impact is well known. But there's a lot of guys on that list there that kind of act as dispersed leaders for me, and taking that message of what playing fast means, taking that message of how seriously we take being a Bryant football player holistically. So, it's amazing that I was able to step into a situation where that group of seniors who were juniors at the time were the guys that I could lean on and help us bring this program to where it needs to go.
And then secondly, Coach, you talked about in 20 years, this group can come back and say, hey, 27 of us, we were seniors, we were part of this. You went through it. You were a college football player. You were part of a senior day. You were part of a senior class. Football always seems to be that one sport that there's maybe a little bit more camaraderie, a little bit more tight-knit because you're around everybody so much because of the film, the practices, the August camp, the spring camp, the summer ball. What is it about that kind of, and then brings you back together and being able to be a part of that?
It's a special thing. And, for us, we're 20 years in now. And when you picture what 20 years from now means, that means 25 guys a year. So that's 500 guys. 500 more Bryant football players will be out in the world doing great things and making the connections and, with each other. And it's such a source of strength right now for me to tap into the current alums. And each year we're putting out, another group of tremendous guys that we can all lean upon and feed off of that way. So that's exciting. And I know these guys here, what they're exclusively focused on is making sure that as we take steps, getting better and better, this Saturday's a great opportunity to demonstrate that.
The Bulldogs take on the Wagner Seahawks this Saturday at Burns Stadium, a 1 o'clock kickoff. We'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about that matchup as the Bulldogs look to earn a winning season for the second consecutive year. They go into the weekend at 5-4 overall. Take a break, come back with more of the Bryant Football Coaches Show after this.
Want football? We got a lot of it. NEC Front Row will carry more than 30 live games during the 2017 season and will provide plenty of pigskin coverage in between. Prepare for the week's list of games by watching the whole 9 yards. Then on Tuesdays, revisit the top eye-popping plays with the NEC Football Super 7 Countdown. Get to necfrontrow.com and enjoy your front row seat to the 2017 Northeast Conference football season.
Welcome back to the Bryant Football Coaches Show presented by Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield. Tristan Hobbes, head coach James Perry. The Bulldogs getting set to take on the Wagner College Seahawks this Saturday, 1 o'clock at Burns Stadium. It's a kickoff on NEC Front Row. You can also get your tickets on BryantBulldogs.com/tickets. The final home game of 2018. We just talked about the Bulldogs and their honoring of their senior class prior to the game. But once the game kicks off, Coach, what can we expect?
Yeah, this is going to be a hard-fought game. There's no doubt about that. This Wagner football team can really play. They have one of the best players. We'll play all year long. One of the best players in all of FCS in the running back position. And they've played a lot of really close games this year. So I anticipate this Saturday will be nothing different.
The Bulldogs, the running back the coach mentions, Ryan Fultz, the national leader in rushing yards, up over 150 yards per game. He's done it against the highest level opponents in the FCS. You got a Montana State in there that you had a good game against. Coach, you've seen the best backs the Northeast Conference can offer this season with the A.J. Hines, Jordan Meacham, Drew Jean-Guillaume. Now you get Ryan Fultz, the last Northeast Conference game of the year. What have those other backs taught you defensively and kind of what you can expect? Yeah,
well, I think, for us, we're always looking to get better. So I think this week we took a step in the right direction in that regard. There's no doubt they're going to try to run the football no matter who they play, and I think that'd be particularly true this week. It's getting late in the year. This is time to run the football in all sorts of inclement weather and so forth. So for us, it'll be a great challenge. What we're always trying to do is look inward. What are the things that we can do better? I think, there are a lot of things we did a lot better this past weekend, especially in regard to stopping the run. I know, whether it's Tom Costigan who's this incredible football player that we have, has had his great career, he's still trying to make this his best football game. You know, Tomas Wright has had a fantastic season. He's done a lot of good things, but he's trying to play the best he's ever played this weekend. And, you know, we talked a lot about that on yesterday, is what can we do to, you know, capitalize on some of the things that we did well in the second half there against St. Francis and even get better at it. You know, how can we build upon that? And then, you know, for us, I love the challenge of that. You know, we're moving in the right direction. Now, bang, we get to play this great back and this great offensive unit in that regard. So, yeah, we love the challenge.
Speaking of challenge, this may be a bad question, Coach. In football, defensively, do you look at a game like this and you get hyped up, hey, we can stop the best back in the country, or do you kind of, you can't do that because you have to make sure that you don't overcommit to one, and I'm talking about it as a player.
Sure.
I'm trying to maybe figure.
Well, I think, you know, when you talk about run game, though, that's something that everybody takes pride in. Right. So this cuts right to the core, you know, and, you know, Coach Kelly and the defensive unit, you know, that's a very personal thing, right? Someone's going to try to run the football against you. So, you know, I know we take a ton of pride in it. They take a ton of pride in it. So, you know, I think it's a great question, right? You know, how do you not take that personally and take it as a great challenge? And, you know, for us, as we build ourselves, and each year try to get better, each week try to get better so that we can be the best, you want to go against a great back and, you know, kind of test your mettle. And then when it comes time to be, you know, a holistic defense, you got to be able to obviously handle the fact that they can throw the ball very well. This is a quarterback we also know very well in a pass game that's very capable. So, yeah, we'll be ready for everything they throw at us. But when it comes to stopping the running football game, you know, that's something that you definitely take personally. And
then, Coach, defensively against you, you mentioned Tom Costigan, Tomas Wright, linebacker DN combo. This Wagner team has kind of their own combo, Santoni Graham and Cam Gill. Cam Gill and Tomas actually neck and neck as far as the national lead in sacks and tackles for a loss per game. What kind of challenges does the defense pose for Wagner? I know that the numbers don't show well, but this is a very good defense.
Yeah, oh yeah, and you know, you mentioned the two guys, in Tomas and Cam, and really when you look across NEC football right now, you're seeing it played at the highest level. And for me, you know, 20 years, most of it spent in the FCS level. You know, I have a pretty good measuring stick on what a terrific, you know, elite level player looks like, and that's what they look like. You know, this league is just consistently getting better, putting guys like that on the football field, guys who, you know, are playing at the absolute highest level, who could play anywhere in the country. When you start talking about Tomas and Cam and these guys, that's what they look like. That's how they challenge you. And, you know, we're certainly going to have our hands full this week. You know, not only does he sack very well, he tracks the ball from behind very well. He takes on blocks from the, you know, when you point of attack very well. He's just a really, really good football player. And then when you add to the fact that they're very multiple defense, they are willing to blitz and rock and roll their secondary from every different angle. So, yeah, we'll absolutely have our hands full, and, you know, it'll be a good challenge that way, and we look forward to it.
And looking forward to it, Coach. You've talked about it at the beginning of the show. You want this to be the best week. Senior Day, last chance at Burns Stadium this year, and each week get better. What do the Bulldogs need to do this week specifically to get better?
Yeah, so, you know, for us, it's that time of year. So a lot of guys, I think this time of year think, oh, how can I recover, right? How do I get to the game? That's something that you got to just erase from your brain. You know, you're not going to make it through the way that we practice if any piece of you thinks, oh, I just got to get to the game. You know, so yesterday was a good start to the week. Getting better means I'm in better shape. You know, I'm not trying to get back to neutral. I'm trying to actually increase my conditioning level, my fitness level for the weekend. You know, what it means on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we're going to put those pads on. We're going to hit. So we're going to become a more physical football team. And a lot of guys, as the season goes on, think, you know, how can I, you know, skirt that end of it? And that is absolutely, we have no tolerance for that. So, you know, when you circle back to that senior group that you started the show with, I rely on them to take that message that we're going to go out there and attack this Tuesday and Wednesday in a very particular way. I rely on them to pass that message to the locker room so that when we hit the field at 4 o'clock tomorrow, it's the best 2 hours of the day.
Coach, are you excited for Saturday?
Yeah, and we're back home. 3 weeks on the road, back home. So yeah,
it's been 3 weeks. It's been a long time.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. We've been out there on Thursdays. We'll be out there again this week. So we're getting Burn Stadium use, but there's nothing like a Saturday in front of the Bryant football fans and the community that way. So yeah, I couldn't be more pumped.
Bulldogs 19-5 at home since the start of 2014, over a 66% winning percentage at home in program history. Exciting times. Saturday, 1 o'clock kickoff. Be sure to come early. Tailgate in the parking lot. Senior Day festivities start around a half hour prior to kickoff on Saturday. Again, BryantBulldogs.com/tickets. If you're looking to come out to the game, you can watch the game live on an EC Front Row and listen on WOON 1240. You can catch Coach and I back here next Monday at 5 o'clock. Or watch online at the Bryant Athletics Facebook page. But Coach, thanks for joining us and good luck this week.
Thanks for having me.
This has been the Bryant Football Coaches Show presented by Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield.